So Martin, we've come to Ballyclaw here today to look at a shed you're involved with erecting here. So you work with Dwyer Steel and your farm and yourself maybe. Do you want to give a bit of background to Dwyer Steel first and their history?
I'm working with O Dwyer Steel, second generation. My father worked with them before I did. So we have a long history with over 60 years selling with the one company. We have a lot of very loyal customers built up over the years, that's what we have. O Dwyer Steel, a very good company, well-established company. They're based in Dundrum, County Tipperary, and they have it's all in-house work as regards shot blasting and priming and all fabrication, everything. They do a lot of the agricultural side would be about 30% of what they do. They do a lot of industrial steel as well. So
with a big export element in that,
big export. They export to the UK, and they're doing a lot of modular buildings as well. So
very good. So maybe you have a shed here. So could you describe what's built here, Martin?
Yeah, this is a fine dairy layout, the farm of Martin O'Brien. So we came in here first and we started doing the cubicle shed, and it was done in 3 stages, and that's 28 bays long now, and you can feed at both sides all around. That's a fantastic cubicle shed.
And when you say 28 bays, then Martin, how long is that in reality for people? Just how many feet?
It's about 450 feet long.
Which is huge.
Yeah. And as well as that, the idea of it is that no matter how many cows he want, all he has to do is add on to it, and he's still catered for the feeding of cows on both sides.
Right.
And this thin building is a rotary, for a 60-unit rotary, and it's a portal frame over the rotary, and then we have a lean-to off it, for it can be used for storage or calving or something, anything that's needed on the side of it there.
Okay.
So
when you say portal frame, then Martin, what do you mean by that?
Portal frame is clear span.
Okay.
That's what it is. So you can see by the size of the rafters and the roof there, because of the size of it, you need heavy steel. And on the sides here, we have a 254 by 254 pillar, so that it strengthens, and the wall is 10 inches then as well, so that suits the builder as well coming in. There's a fibre cement roof on it.
Why did you go fibre cement, or why would a farmer consider going fibre cement?
Most of the big dairy units as regards cubicle sheds and milking parlours that we've erected in the last number of years is they'll be fibre cement. You have no weeping, you have a 30-year guarantee with the sheeting, you have heavier timbers, and you have actually more timber as well, and all the timber is imported. So we also have roof lights on it to leave in natural light, and underneath that is the safety bars for so that anybody wouldn't fall down through them, you know.
Right. So I see no vent then on the top. What's the reason for that?
The reason there's no vent on the top is because from experience, if you put a vent on it, if water comes in, it will go down on the electrics and on the plant. So what we have is a close ventilated cap up in it. There's 2 per bay on that, and that will leave out any condensation or steam from the cows when they're inside in the autumn time or whatever. But right. It won't leave in bugs, or it won't leave in rain or anything like that. You know?
Okay. In terms of the erection of the shed, could you describe how that's done or how you do it in Dwyer's?
Well, first of all, obviously the shed is erected or fabricated in O Dwyer's, and then when it comes out, we have our subcontractors. He frame the building first and roof it, and then the man comes in to do the concrete, and we come back then as we are back now, side sheeting it and sheeting the gables and stuff like that, you know. So
okay. It's
done in stages really, like that's it.
Okay. Maybe health and safety then, Martin, you mentioned something about that.
Yeah.
In terms of how is that handled typically?
Before the building is sheeted, we knit all the buildings, so that's for health and safety. I think we're probably one of the only companies in the country that's knitting all the buildings before they're sheeted. Like, you know?
Okay. I see on some of the steel a CE mark. What's the relevance of that?
The CE mark is the matter of traceability. So it's CE marked and it's class 3, which a lot of agricultural companies will be class 1, but otherwise have gone to class 3. That's for the industrial side as well. Like that's what it is, you know.
Okay.
So all steel can be traced back to original.
Right. Just on a general point then, Martin, you mentioned you're in the business maybe up to 40 years. What have you seen changed, say, from when you started to today? What changes have you seen mainly?
And I suppose there's huge changes since 2014, since the quotas went.
Yeah, which is 7 years or 8 years. Yeah.
Expansion, big time, and now you have a lot of between rotaries and robots, and larger herringbone parlours as well. Then cubicle sheds and feeding systems are getting easier because I suppose lack of labour and stuff like that. So people want to make it easier to work inside, and as well as that, cow comfort is a big thing. So a lot of fine dairy herds have really comfortable cubicle beds and all that.
Okay. Yeah. So in terms of a project like this, again, to recap the size of it, and maybe how long would it take to erect it and sheet it if you have a straight run at it typically?
When you see, it's done in stages, right? So you erect it, you frame it first and sheet it, roof it. That could take maybe up to 10 days, 2 weeks. And then you come back and you have to side gable sheet it, and side that could take another 10 days to 2 weeks between timber it out and everything.
Right.
So there's a month's work in it from start to finish. That's
right. Yeah. And hopefully a good long lifespan on it then afterwards.
Well, we hope.
Yeah. Very good. So Martin, I suppose in the next part of the video, what we'd like to do is maybe discuss the relationship of the collecting yard here, and maybe go into a bit more detail on the cubicle shed. But the rotary here in the collecting yard is parallel to the cubicle shed. How important is that?
Well, you see, I suppose it's all going back to planning again. You have your rotary here. We're actually standing here now, where this will be the collecting yard, and he has a tank back here behind. So all the collecting yard will be screwed up into this tank here, and the cows will be able to go out on a slatted passage here, as you can see it there. Look, the cows will come out here, and there'll be a drafting system. The drafting system will be in here, so they go back out and into the shed. So, as I said about expansion, if you want to expand the sheds later, they won't affect the milking parlour, they won't affect the collecting yard, and he has adequate slurry storage and everything here then as well, So,
and to recap on the cubicle shed then, Martin, it started off at what was the first phase? There was 3 phases.
Yeah, we did 9 bays first, and then we did 11 bays in the second phase, and there was 8 bays went on to the third phase. So
the total length of it now? Or how many columns in its total length?
It's 28 columns.
Right.
And the columns are 4.8 metres. There's some bigger columns because there's tanks going across that shed to cater for the cubicle, or cater for the scrapers going down. So I think there's about 5 tanks going across that shed at the moment.
Okay, and they're important because of the length, I presume, is it?
Well, you see, the slurry, the scrapers and taking down the slurry is broken every so many bays with the tank going across, which is a good idea as well,
Yeah.
So,
size-wise, how would it compare to other jobs you've done? Is it one of the biggest, or?
Would be one of the biggest, That's definitely.
Yes.
Yeah, we have done a few more. Would be very big, but they'd be designed different then as well. That's what they would,
Yes. And so, roughly, how many rows of cubicles is it? It's feeding on the outside anyway.
There's 6 rows of cubicles there, and feeding and scraper passage, and feeding on the outside. So it's ideal for buffer feeding in the springtime or in the autumn time or during the summer like this, with a drought.
Yeah.
You can buffer feed all around, bring in your cows and buffer feed all around,
Right.
So, which is a huge advantage to any farm, right? That's what it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I suppose, as your point is, it's the ability to expand it if you want in time. Not that it might be needed here now, it's so long, but it's the ability to keep going.
Yeah, it is, but it's the way, it's just well planned out yard, for labour and efficiency and everything like that, That's
So in terms of steel or roof material again, what's different about it?
Well, it's something similar to the milking parlour. It's a fibre cement roof with the safety bars underneath the clear lights.
Yeah.
The centre of it is done a portal frame, so that if you're looking at cows with cameras in there for cows calving or anything like that, you've no walls inside and that blocking your vision or anything like that,
Right.
So it's well thought out of that way as well. Like that's what
Okay, the vent then, say?
there's a vent on that, then the whole way along. So you obviously have to open at both sides, which is plenty of air, but you still have the vent in the centre for the highest point where the hot air goes out, you know. And that's an extended, that's a wider vent because of the fact of the width of the shed. We put a 6-foot curved sheet on it. That's what it is. So
Why? Because it's the width?
yeah, you have a wider vent in the middle and you have a wider sheet to cover bigger, you know, so you have no water or anything going down it. So
Okay, right.
Yeah.
And is it to do with more water or more air, to get more air? Or?
Both.
Okay,
Yeah,
right.
You have a bigger vent in the middle to give more air, to get the hot air out, and you have a bigger sheet so that you have better coverage, you know, for keeping water out.
Right. A debate that I'd see around the pitch on the roof. What's your view on that?
There's a
general?
15 degrees pitch in that roof.
Yeah.
That's coinciding with grand spec, right? But we generally put a 15 degrees pitch in all their units and calf houses anyway, because the greater the pitch, the hot air goes out faster, so it's a better job.
Right. In England, is it fair to say they have a higher pitch, that there's a preference in some places for that? Or?
Maybe, yeah, but it's very hard to stay up on the roof if you have for erection. That's what it is, you know. So
Right.
I think 15 degrees is adequate. That's what it is.
Right, okay, yeah. And say, would this be your ideal shed layout type, or how would you people will feed down the middle, or you'll feed on the outside? What again,
depends
your
on-
experience on that?
At the moment, I'm doing a big shed in another yard, and he's feeding down the middle because he'd be very exposed to the weather, and it wouldn't suit to be feeding outside, you know. So,
Okay,
yeah, so it depends on the site. It depends on and it depends on the yard.
yes.
So, yeah.
And have you viewed cubicles, number of cubicles, rows of cubicles to the feed faces, or to feed?
Well, yeah, like the one feeding down the middle normally have 3 rows of cubicles at either side, and this one then would have either 4 or 6 cubicles down the middle and feeding on the outside. You know?
Right,
So
yeah,
that's it. But,
I see. And say in that period of time, though, 40 years cubicle-wise, cubicle layouts, have you seen much of a change, or?
Well, just the cubicles are after, you know, no legs and to stop cows from getting up. So the super comfort cubicles and the cow mats and all that, they're really the way to go. Like that's what they are.
Okay,
You know?
yeah.
Some people are putting in the plastic cubicles, so that's a matter of choice, really. Like that's
Yes.
what, you know?
Yeah.
So,
That's fine. Well, Martin, thank you for your time there.
thanks again. Okay, no bother.